Wilson,
Here.
Boers,
Here.
Bowman,
Here.
Sellers,
Here.
Nixon,
Here.
Stevens, Chair West.
Here. First item of business is the consent agenda. Does anybody wish to pull any item from that, or can we go ahead with a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Let's vote, please.
Wilson,
Yes.
Boers,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Sellers,
Yes.
Nixon,
Yes.
Chair West.
Yes. We'll pull agenda item number 2, proceed to number 3, which is PA 24-30, Comprehensive Plan Use Map Amendment from medium intensity single family to local commercial with a general location of 1123 West Main Street. Mrs. Hilton.
Thank you, Chair West and Planning Commission. This item is a comprehensive plan amendment, and for our audience and for the members of the Planning Commission, just a reminder that this is a comprehensive land use plan amendment. So state statute does not dictate to municipalities how to process comprehensive plan amendments, and we put together some criteria. And what we do in the city of Jenks, it requires a sign to be posted at the property site, and then we have a public hearing. And so that's how we got here this evening. This property is located at 1123 West Main Street, and the request is from medium intensity single family to local commercial. And you may actually remember this from last month, where Mr. Macy said, and the land use plan. And I was like, no, we don't need it. So if you see the page that Mr. Macy has pulled up, which is page 25 of 73, there is a map that shows the original land use plan, and then there's a map that shows figure 2 says requested comprehensive land use plan. So when I was writing the staff report for the rezoning request, and basically this is a structure that was originally a residential home, and it had a residential zoning and was a residential use. The applicants owned it for many, many years and was in the process of trying to sell it when they discovered that their zoning did not align with the actual use. So it's been used as an office for a very long time. So they came in and asked to rezone, and we said, oh, and by the way, you're going to need to amend the comprehensive plan. When I was writing the staff report, if you see figure 2, it shows a pink box. And I was like, Brandon, we don't need to amend it. It's already amended. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, look. So this is the online version that we use for the public. What happened is prior to the public hearing, we had a meeting with the GIS tech and talked about upcoming cases and getting the entire map updated for the public viewer. And he was very good at getting that done. So when I copied and pasted that into my staff report, it was already done. I was like, no, we already did it. So apologize, it is back. We talked to the city attorney, it's all fine. So you did recommend approval of rezoning, and council did approve the rezoning. So another thing to note, in a rezoning case, the comprehensive plan, our Unified Development Ordinances doesn't match the comprehensive plan. So I try really hard to keep them very close. And in this case, we rezoned before the comprehensive plan amendment. It's okay. We knew it needed to be done, and we can clean it up. And that can happen and has happened in the past. So this is, staff recommends approval of this item to amend the land use plan to local commercial. And I will say for you, just as an FYI, I believe the neighbor adjacent to him on the east is also going to make application. So I think probably everything from COA to Juniper is probably going to ultimately be requested to be local commercial. So staff does recommend local commercial. And as you know, we have already rezoned to local commercial, and that gets it all matched up nice and tidy. And I do recommend approval of this comp plan amendment request.
All right, any questions for staff? No? Anybody from the public in the audience wish to speak on this item? All right, I See no one. Go ahead and close the floor and entertain a motion on item number 3, please.
I'll make a motion to approve PA 24-30.
Second.
Brandon, let's vote, please.
Wilson,
Yes.
Bors,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Sellers,
Yes.
Nixon,
Yes.
Chair West.
Yes. Agenda item number 4 is PA 24-33. It's a comprehensive plan use map amendment from medium intensity single family to local commercial, general location 938 West C Street.
Thank you, Chair West and Planning Commission. This is a second comprehensive plan amendment request, and it came in almost the same time, so also there was a little internal confusion because are we talking about Mr. Brown's or the Brown property or the Robertson property, and were we talking about, so both of them were non-conforming uses. In this case, it is a residential use, but they were also have been running a business out of it. And so they wanted to enlarge the space, they couldn't, and we went through the whole process and we're like, oh, well, you can't do that, and this is why. And by the way, your comprehensive plan says that this can only be used for residential, even though they had this accessory use for all of these years. So again, this one is adjacent to Main Street. It is east of Ivy and north of Main, and they are actually moving out of the home, and it will be used 100% as local commercial. In this case, this one is different because the zoning was appropriate, but the comprehensive plan was not, so we're just syncing those two up. So staff does recommend approval of PA 24-33. And I think there's a photo on page 31 of the structure there. This one has frontage on Main Street, Ivy, and C Street.
All right, questions on item 4? Nope. Going to open the floor. Anybody from the audience wish to speak on item number 4? All right, we'll go ahead and close the floor. Further discussion or motion on this item?
I'll motion to approve PA 24-33 as submitted.
Second.
Brandon, let's vote, please.
Wilson,
Yes.
Bors,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Sellers,
Yes.
Nixon,
Yes.
Chair West.
Yes. Item 5 is PA 24-34, Comprehensive Plan Land Use Map Amendment from Medium Intensity Single Family to Local Commercial, General Location 131st and Harvard. Mrs. Hilton, again, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair West and Planning Commission. This is a property, and you can see here, the original map is what you would have seen last month from INCOG. So this is when someone makes a zoning application, we give them the legal description, and then they present the map in the 300-foot radius. So in yellow was a zoning case that came before you, and up in the right, oh, look at all those red squares over there, that's funny. Over in the right northeast corner where it says 8.76 acres, we currently have on our comprehensive plan designated that hard corner as local commercial. And this is the second residential developer that has come along and said, hey, we would like to do residential here. You've got this commercial piece. Would you be willing to let us do all residential in this area? And I have said no, because I think that we should prepare for the long term and if there ever is a bridge on 131st Street. So what I recommended in the staff report last time for the rezoning and what I'm bringing before you tonight, I think that it is important to consider this particular location, and I can ask you to consider this separate from the zoning. So I think you need to think about this evening. If we want, so if you go to the hard corner of 131st and Harvard, there is about 5 acres, and there would be no change to that. And then everything surrounding that was not part of the zoning, but the owner was open to taking a portion of that and developing it as commercial. When you're doing commercial development, most retail or even restaurants, they want to be within the first 300 feet of a street. So once you get past that first 300 feet, you're now in the second row or third row, and you have a harder time leasing those properties, you have a harder time selling those properties, and they're just not that popular. So what I'm recommending tonight is for you all to consider, would you be willing, and we did talk about this during the rezoning for the JZ PUD 149, taking that 8.6 acres, and I'm basically saying, let's put 10 acres somewhere closer to 131st and Harvard. And I would personally recommend on 131st, but I'm asking you all tonight to recommend the 10 acres be moved from that hard corner. Number one, there is, in both plans for residential development, there's a large drainage area in that corner, and it makes it a little bit harder sell for commercial in the future. And then the other thing is, it's adjacent to that PSO easement on the east side, and that makes it also challenging because you're not actually on an intersection corner. So it's not really a hard corner because there's a very large easement between Kimberly Clark Place and 131st Street. So my question before you this evening, and what I'm asking you to consider is it appropriate to allow residential all the way to that area? And if so, where would you put that 8.76 acres, but I'm asking for 10. So where would you put the 10 acres? Where would you swap that out? And I personally would recommend 131st, but I'm looking for your recommendation this evening.
When you say that you would suggest or recommend 131st, are you saying that 131st in lieu of Harvard?
Yes.
One or the other?
Yeah.
The frontage? Okay.
And I tried to run through maybe this would be better or that would be better. And I think 131st, if a bridge came through, would probably be better. But, I mean, we're looking way down the road at that point.
Why not the whole corner, access from 131st and Harvard?
That was my first recommendation. The landowners were not really supportive of that, and because it starts getting so deep, then it's less advantageous to
Gotcha.
dedicate it as retail. So I think they'll come back in at some point and probably ask for some type of residential anyway. So I just wanted to make sure that we at least kept 10 acres in that half mile.
And for the record, that hard corner at 131st and Harvard is local commercial.
Where can you zoom in where the diagonal lines are? Actually, yeah. So that one's not changing. That one's still local commercial. We're just saying if we could move that pink box, where would we put it? And do you think it's a good idea?
It seems like a good idea with the utility easement or the PSO easement, whatever it is, that's on Kimberly Clark Place, as well as, you can see, I'm looking at the satellite image of it. There is a giant pond there on that corner, so it's obviously the low point of the property. You said there's a lot of drainage going to be used there, so it probably would not end up commercial anyway.
Right. That was our thought.
And where do you see getting the difference to make up the 10 that you're wanting? If that hard corner is 8.76?
I'm just saying that's 8.76, so let's make it an even 10 acres and move it from that corner, and you tell me where you want it
Gotcha.
plunked.
Okay. Okay.
And I think Brandon was telling us there's already
Technical
5
planning term.
on that corner.
It is.
5 or 2, what is that number?
I think it's 5. You can zoom in. I do think it says that.
Something says
Oh,
like
2.86.
2.66 or 2.86 acres.
Yeah.
So
that 2.6, that current nearly 3 acres is what's currently local commercial.
I was wanting to clarify, are you meaning a 10 additional to that 2 point, or almost 3.
So 13, almost 13 total, or?
Yeah, so there would be no change to the diagonal lines, that one stays, and then we would just move, so we're playing, a little game
Yeah.
of move the
Do you have a
pink
pointer
box.
just to follow our words?
So that one stays, there's no change to that.
Yeah, that stays the same, and
That
then
stays the same.
somewhere in here.
I just said, let's look at all of this area for 10 acres of dedication.
So where it says no change to hard corner, you're wanting to move that 10 acres right there?
That's what I would recommend.
I mean, especially if
Oh.
131st will have a
Gotcha.
bridge possibly maybe in the
Right.
future.
Looks,
I like that.
seems like the obvious place to me.
Yeah.
I agree.
The most obvious place is just to the south of the 2.66 along 131st,
Maybe just east of it.
east of it.
Where it says no change.
Well, if we have a new bridge going across just south of it next to Harbor, if you put it on 131st and then we put a bridge across right there, then we're going to be going in and having to undo a bunch of,
The bridge is coming across the river on Yale Place, I think.
Sorry, I probably confused you on that.
okay.
Yeah.
The bridge would be 131st. There's several alignments, but it would be across the Arkansas River,
Okay,
making 131st a very important
Right.
thoroughfare.
okay.
I think my only input would be, I'm not seeing the need for more if there's already 2 point something there, and just bringing over 8.8 or whatever it is. I mean, me personally not seeing the need to add 10 more acres to that
Yeah,
spot
why
rather
are you
than just
thinking, why are you thinking 13 instead of
8.6.
8.6 plus 2.6?
I just thought, well, it would be 2.6 plus 10. I was just rounding up the
Yeah.
8 point.
Be close to 13 total.
Yeah. So when you're, as in anyone doing these, you can see on the comprehensive land use map, it doesn't always follow a lot line. It's more just of a line that was thrown out there. So I tried to I used a measuring tool in GIS, and that's how I knew that it was about 8.76 acres. So I said, well, we'll just ask for 10 and move it over. It was just an estimation. You could go with 5, it doesn't really matter. I wouldn't go less than 10 personally, but
I was saying 10 total, like with
Oh,
that
yeah.
whole hard corner plus having some over. So do we know how much that space is that you've got in the pink square, for
far
instance?
exceeds,
Okay,
yeah, far
it's-
exceeds.
Okay.
I was just providing an area, a general area. I probably, actually, if you zoom in, you can see where I measured it in that box right there. See the red one? It should have the one on the bottom. So you can see where I took out the hard corner, and then the other one I measured. It's in square feet though, not acres, so I'm not doing that math.
Do you know how many
Google.
acres would be from the eastern boundary of the 2.66 if you went straight across from that over to the black, where the zoning change is, and just take that northern
Brandon, go over to the
section
box
of the
again.
pink and just make it a nice,
Let me see what that
neat
measurement is.
rectangle right there and have it all together.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, whatever that is.
So it's about 745 feet from the edge of the current local commercial over to the yellow line. So it's probably gonna be, I just have to estimate, it'd probably be about 12 acres. If you just drew a straight line all the way across.
Okay.
And again, it's a guide, so you're just saying, in general, we would like to see another 10 acres adjacent to 131st.
Even if it's contiguous, it's not going to, I don't know if anybody would want to have all of it all in one
Right.
place. Having it in 2 corners like that probably saves the residential piece to be behind it, protected from. So I
That-
see some value in the 10 acres being on the south side
But
to
it-
even having 13 acres. If 131 is going to be the thoroughfare coming from South Tulsa into 151st Street on the other side of Kimberly Clark's plant, that's going to be a high-traffic area for a long time, whenever that bridge gets built.
That seems to be a better configuration than having a hard corner in the northeast portion
Yeah.
of that over there as an island. That doesn't make any sense. But making it adjacent to the current on the northwest corner, I think is, and then keep it on the frontage road. Then you reserve the frontage road for Harvard later if you needed to expand it. You could go straight south from there and still preserve the consistent of the existing zoning in that area, not have to get. So I think that would make sense to do that as the swap. Just put it across contiguous to that 2.66 and go all the way to where the zoning ends, whatever that
Sure.
acreage is.
Got it.
Craig, Gina, any comment, question? Nope. All right. All right, we'll go and open the floor. Is there anybody from the audience wishing to speak on this agenda item? Yes, sir. If you would, please give your name and address.
Ed Phillips, 13422 South 19th Court, Bixby. A question, can you expand a little bit on the sales tax difference on the swap? There's been some concern expressed about the city set up the corner over there, you know, for sales tax revenue, and now that's going to change.
Well, there would be no impact to the city as long as we dedicated at least 8.76 acres. There would be no impact to the
So the
city.
location won't make any difference on the sales tax?
No, sir.
Okay, the second question is, what kind of protection will the adjacent subdivision have from the change on the commercial?
Adjacent subdivision,
Providence Hills is on the west side of Harvard.
they are already adjacent to a commercial shopping hard
right.
corner, and so
Yeah.
this would just mirror basically what is already there.
Yeah,
And when you ask for protections, what are you asking?
it seems like some of these changes end up changing more after they're put in place. type
Sure.
of thing.
Sometimes they do.
So is that pretty much going to be the end result that we end up with? The commercial zoning?
Can't see the
On this parcel?
Hmm?
On the parcel in question?
Yeah.
Mhm. I think that you absolutely will have commercial dedicated along 131st and possibly even more along Harvard in the future.
Right. You know, there's some already on the north side of 131st, the northeast corner there anyway. The last question real quick is, will the changes affect the right-of-way going to a new bridge? Where you agree with the bridge or not? If we do have a bridge, will this change affect the right-of-way access? If we have a bridge, the point I'm getting to is if we have a bridge, then those large trucks are going to be going north up to 131st and going across the bridge.
Sure.
So they're going to have to expand that intersection there some way.
I believe that 131st and Harvard are both secondary arterials, and that right-of-way would already have been established regardless of the comprehensive plan.
Okay? So there's adequate protection there for the future?
Mhm.
Okay.
I think it's
That's all I
100
have.
feet for
Thank
the
you.
right-of-way.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else? Anyone else wish to speak on item 5? All right, we'll go ahead and close the floor, and I will accept comment, additional comment. or a motion on item 5?
And you might have said this, Marseille, but on the west side of Harvard, along 131st, that commercial that's, that we see here on the top left, do we know how many acres that hard corner is? If that makes sense.
I did not measure it, no. It looks like it's probably, if we had 2 point something on this side.
Might be getting close to 10. I only say that, mention that because it looks very similar in layout and everything. I mean, it would be my thought to just mirror that
Mirror that, mhm.
on the other side. It's, would, in my opinion, look very cohesive to what's already
Sure.
there.
Mhm.
But I don't
Makes
know
sense.
how many, I don't know how much that is. To
We
try to
can, you
keep
can
it
make your
consistent.
motion just to mirror what's on the west
Okay.
side of
Okay.
Harvard, if that's your preference.
Are you-
You don't have to do a minimum acreage.
Okay. Does anybody else have input on that one?
I like that. Mhm.
Okay. Well, then I would make a motion to mirror the same layout and size that is on the, to the west of Harvard along 131st.
South side of 131st, right?
Yes, south of 131st, west of Harvard. Mirror that same hard corner to this location to the east of Harvard, south of 131st.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's vote, Brandon.
Wilson,
Yes.
Boers,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Sellers,
Yes.
Nixon,
Yes.
Chair West.
Yes. Item 6, PA 24-35, comprehensive plan land use map amendment from local commercial to medium intensity single-family local commercial. Original location, 131st and Kimberly Clark Place.
Just that last local commercial was a
I thought so. I thought so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is now saying if we're not going to do commercial in that 8.76 acre area, is it acceptable to continue with the same medium intensity single family in that area? And we did bring to you JZ 24 PUD 149, which did have a plan for medium intensity single family all the way to that hard corner. And this would then match what they have proposed.
All right, any questions, discussion about that?
So can I just clarify, there's no change then from the last conversation that we had
Correct.
on this particular item? Okay.
May I speak?
Yes, please.
I would say, what you'll see when it's actually, if it's approved at council, there will become, if council takes your recommendation, we'll mirror what was on this side of the street, and the rest of that pink will be yellow, and that hard corner will become yellow, which will be medium intensity, single family. If someone wanted to make a different request in the future, they can, per Mr. Phillips' question earlier.
All right, we'll go ahead and open the floor on this item number 6. Anyone from the audience wish to speak? Anybody on item 6? All right, I see no one. We'll go ahead and close the floor. And we're ready for motion on item number 6.
Sorry.
I would make a motion to approve item 6, PA 24-35.
Second.
All right, vote please.
Wilson,
Yes.
Bors,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Sellers,
Yes.
Nixon,
Yes.
Chair West.
Yes. Other business, any planning updates, Mrs. Hilton?
Yes, thank you. The downtown master plan, as you know, we submitted an RFQ back in March, I think, and went through the interview process in April. And for a multitude of reasons, we kind of narrowed it down based on the votes on the committee to one or two. We had a top two candidates, and we've followed up with 2 interviews on that, and we've talked to both of them about that scope of work and adjusting their price. So we'll be hearing back from both of them. We've heard back from one already, and then we'll hear back from the other one. So hopefully we'll have some type of a contract moving forward for the downtown master plan. And we have a graduate student who is looking at studying Polecat Creek for his graduate student project. And so that's exciting, and maybe he will come up with something amazing for his capstone project and have an award-winning outcome.
For free, right?
For free.
That would be awesome.
It would be.
All right. Is that it? Okay, meeting is adjourned, 6:30.